Hi guys! Welcome back to another episode of Shmile Bakes. Today we're gonna go through the tips and things to keep in mind when it comes to building a cake. We're gonna go through the steps of how to make the layers even, how to make sure that all our filling stays inside, how to make sure when you need to stop, put your cake in the freezer for a couple minutes to make sure it doesn't collapse. So hopefully after watching this video, you're gonna feel so inspired to go and create something on your own. I promise you, stay to the end to learn new things. Even if this is your first time, you're gonna get inspired and you are gonna want to bake something today. So let's get right to it. Okay guys, we're gonna start and we have here our turntable, a cake board, and a 6-inch vanilla cake. We're gonna go ahead and use vanilla and also chocolate. We're gonna layer them down, one vanilla, one chocolate, one vanilla, one chocolate. So let's grab our serrated knife, a ruler, because if this is your first time, it will be easier if you just grab a ruler and measure each layer. This time I'm looking for 1-inch cake layers, so I'm gonna go ahead and mark down all around my cake before I even start cutting. Try to go around the sides, cutting until you feel that you got to the middle. You don't want to do one single cut because you think you're going straight, but turns out you are not. So try to avoid this mistake. Once you have your layers ready, grab buttercream, put it in a pastry bag, and we're gonna make a ring at the edge of this cake layer. If you want a recipe for the Swiss buttercream, I have another video explaining a step-by-step, so go check it out. Now I have an extra creme mousse. It's a dark chocolate one, so I'm gonna go ahead and use this for my filling. I use a scoop to try to make an even filling for each layer. So this will just help you make sure you're putting the same quantity every time. You're gonna put your second layer and you're gonna make sure it is even. Also, you gotta lightly press to make sure no air is inside. You're gonna repeat this step all the way to your last layer. As you can see, before I added my last layer, I came back from the freezer because I like to pop my cake at least 5 to 10 minutes just to make sure that the bottom layers are solid. And this will help you avoid any filling going to the side, and just to make sure you had an even cake. So let's finish this up. After you finished up, you're gonna want to carve your cake. The reason why I do this is, as you can see, sometimes the layers are not specifically even, so this will help you make sure everything is straight. As you can see, there is a lot of leftover cake from those sides. Now we're gonna start with our crumb coat. I'm gonna go ahead and use a smoother. In this case, I have a plastic one just because I had it handy. But we're gonna try to crumb coat all the sides and the top. And then we're gonna put it again on the fridge for 5 to 10 minutes just to help it set before our final layer of buttercream. We're back at it and we're gonna give it a whip to this buttercream because sometimes when it's sitting out a couple of minutes it can actually grab air. So now we're gonna start applying our generous layer. We're gonna make sure to cover each side and we're gonna make sure it is properly even. We're gonna scrape the sides with our spatula. We just want to make sure no air pockets. Now in this case, I'm not going for a specific smooth and sharp edge cake. I'm just trying to cover enough because I'm gonna go ahead later and use my offset spatula to just do a little swirls
from bottom to top. Now try to go as slow as you need to. Don't worry if a little buttercream goes to the side. You can just go back to that spot and remove it and redo it. We're trying to decorate a cake. We're gonna go rustic style. We're not going fully smooth and sharp edge here. After that, when you're at the top, you can finish the same way, starting from the center to your outside of the cake. Cake is ready. I'm gonna go ahead and pop it a little bit on the freezer again, just because I wanna decorate with a couple of garnishes that I have on hand. I have here chocolate ganache with some coconuts, freeze-dried raspberries, chocolate curls, and I have a leftover buttercream with a pastry bag and a tip. I'm gonna go ahead and pour this ganache. This ganache has to be room temp, guys, or at least a texture that you can actually spread it out, but you don't want it hot, because if the ganache is hot and our cake is cold, what's gonna happen? Your buttercream is gonna start melting and it's gonna be quite a mess. So we are trying to avoid that. We're just gonna spread this as even as possible. And if you feel the need to go back and kind of like add a little bit more, or just use a spoon to add more drips to the edge, you can do that. Just go as slow as you need to. After we're done, we're gonna pop it back in the freezer just to make sure it's set. And after that, we're just gonna start with our little rosettes. Make sure that you go in a straight line. I like to do the front and back, and then I turn it 15 degrees and I do front and back. Then I turn it again a little bit and I do front and back. This will assure you that you're putting these little swirls straight and in order. This will give you this balance and awesome look. So that is done, and I was gonna start with the first strawberries, but I thought that the chocolate curls will better, so we're gonna add a little bit of chocolate curls in each of the swirls. Secondly, our strawberries, I decided to put one between each swirl. Now, lastly, our red nonpareils. Gonna put a little bit on each one, and also a little bit on the center of the cake, just to have a little bit of color and matching contrast with our strawberries.
So our cake is done. How did you feel? Did you feel inspired to create something today? You can do this with any flavor you prefer. In this case, I went with vanilla, chocolate, and strawberries. I hope you enjoyed the video today. Please remember to comment if you liked it, share with your friends. You can also find me on social media, and on Instagram, I am Shmile Bakes, also on Facebook. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this a slide because I can't wait to taste this. I hope you have a wonderful day and happy baking!